Did you know that you could be losing a grand, up to £1,000 a year just on how you are using and driving your car? In this video, I aim to help you save those losses over the course of 12 months. You might be a great driver. I'm not doubting that. But you could be one that's broke, that's a bit light in the wallet because of various little things that you might be doing it without even realizing it. I mean, every time you turn the key and drive off, you could be leaking money out of the exhaust pipe. I'm not talking big dramatic bangs and failures and MOT fails and stuff like that, but just tiny little ways, like they say, a death by 1,000 cuts or 1,000 punctures, if you like. So in this video, I'm going to show you all of those little things that might be happening in your driving habits or in how you're treating the car or using the car, things that you may not even think twice about, that combined could be costing you, like I said, up to £1,000 a year. I'm not just talking fuel, but tires, brakes, wear and tear, stuff like that. It's not massive repair bills and big MOT things that I'm talking about. It's, the invisible little losses. That's what we're going to be talking about. And also, it's not necessarily about hypermiling, because of course that is a technique. That is something that you can do as well to save yourself money. We'll talk about that a little bit, but I'm talking about stuff, like I said, that you may not have actually thought about or may not have realized. Anyway, we're going to get into all of that right after this.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
First up, could you be in the wrong gear? I think back to when I was a kid and I used to watch this uncle of mine driving, and I found it really amusing that the moment he said, there was a manual car, of course, back in those days, most cars were, and the moment that he would set up, he would work his way up to those gears at lightning speed. So not the normal, like, you wait a little bit, he would just get up, he wanted to get up in as high a gear as possible. And I think he used to do this because he'd figured out something, and he figured out that the higher the gear, the more you were saving in terms of fuel economy. Having said that, that also wasn't entirely the right thing to do, just be changing up to the gears so rapidly. Because cars, most cars, they're happiest around 2,000 to 3,000 RPM. That's where they perform at their best. And if you're changing up before then you're actually putting more load on the engine because you're getting a higher gear to pull the car when it's not ready to do so. So find the optimum position in which to change the gear. Don't over rev, because if you're revving too much, you're not really doing anything. And you know when you're over revving because you can feel it. Because as you're accelerating in the gear that you are in, as you're accelerating, as the noise rises, the momentum is still growing. The point at which the noise continues to rise, but there is no longer any more momentum growth, so you're not actually gaining any more speed, then you know that you've over revved it, because at that point, you're not actually achieving anything. This kind of thing can also apply to automatics, although automatics obviously take care of all of this by themselves. But if you have an automatic, look at the modes that it's got. Because many of the modern cars will have modes like eco mode and comfort mode. And if you want to save some money, some pennies, then put it into eco mode and leave it there, because that will help. The other thing to be aware of is a lot of modern cars have stop start, which basically shuts off the engine at traffic lights and when you pause and stuff like that. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to leave that on. Be smooth. Being smooth can save you as much as 20% in terms of fuel economy. Oh yeah, 20% just by being smooth. Remember, we're not all in a Fast and Furious movie here. We're not all in a chase sequence. I know we like to accelerate hard off the traffic lights. I certainly do. I'm guilty of it. I've done it in the past. It's fun. But think of it this way. You're accelerating hard to this traffic light, then you just have to stop again at the next one. So all that momentum, all that energy that you've used has come to naught. So that is a complete and utter waste. Accelerate according to the traffic around you, not too fast, not too slow. Again, keep in mind what I said earlier about the revs. If you've got a rev counter where the optimum is about 2,000 to 3,000 RPM, if you haven't got a rev counter, as many modern cars don't, use your ears and attune them to where you know that the sound of the engine is equivalent to the momentum that you're getting. And when that runs out, then you know that it's time to change gear. But keep it gentle. Keep it gentle, keep your acceleration gentle, not too harsh, because you'll be stumping on the throttle, you'll accelerate quickly, and then you just have to slow down again. So all that energy that you use to accelerate hard, you've just wasted it. Same goes for braking. because if you're braking constantly, then all the energy that you used to get up to that speed, you've then wasted it because then you've suddenly braked again. Now, the way to be more smooth and even when you're driving is just advanced driving techniques. So just look ahead, anticipate what's happening. Look ahead, see if the traffic lights are about to change, see if the cars are slowing down, see if there are pedestrians crossing. Try to anticipate where you might need to accelerate or will probably need to brake, and anticipate that so that you do it gently and according to the traffic conditions. I'm not saying don't brake hard if you have to. If you have to, you have to. But by accelerating hard and then constantly braking, you're putting more wear and tear on the car. You're using up more fuel. And when I say wear and tear, keep in mind that you're using up the brake pads and the disc. And particularly the brake pads, you can see the dust coming from the brake pads. You'll see it accumulate on, if you have alloy wheels, you'll see that accumulate on your wheels. So if you ever wash your car on the weekend and then gone out for a Sunday blast and then come back, you'll find bug splatter on the front of the car, but you'll also find the brake dust now coating the wheels that you cleaned with a toothbrush not that long ago. So these are the things to keep in mind. And again, don't forget that brake parts, pads, discs, etc., they can be expensive to change. But having said that, never compromise on your braking. If you need to get them replaced, do so well ahead of when you should be doing so. Running a business these days, especially if you're a one-man army, is exhausting. Believe me, I can tell you all about it. From getting new clients to chasing payments to creating the content, it can be chaos. That's why I want to tell you about my friends at Strategency. Now, they help solopreneurs and small business owners, especially folks in the car scene, automate, scale, and actually grow their business. Websites, content strategy, Instagram, WhatsApp, it's all sorted. If you're ready to go from being overwhelmed to in control, book a 15-minute consult at the link in the description and tell them Brown Car Guy sent you. Now, here's an astonishing thing that could save you up to 25% on your fuel economy on the longer motorway runs. And the thing to keep in mind here is that your car is not an extension of your shed. It's not an extra storeroom. It's not a place to just dump stuff that you couldn't find anywhere else to put. Take weight out of your car. The more weight that's in your car, the more fuel you are using. It's as simple as that. In fact, believe it or not, but for every 50 kilogram of extra weight in your car, you are knocking between 1 and 2% off your fuel economy. And over a longer distance, when you're doing a long drive or a motorway run, that will increase exponentially. So get rid of stuff in your car that you don't need unless you have to have it for the journey. Think also about those boxes that you put on the roof. Don't have them unless you absolutely need to, and most of them you can detach anyway. If you're going on a long journey and you literally have to have it there, that's understandable. But don't just leave it there, because every time it's up there, there's aerodynamic drag. Aerodynamic drag is basically, your car, how it's moving through the air. The more resistance that the car is encountering as it's moving through the air, the more energy that it's using to get through that resistance. So that's why like sports cars and supercars are so sleek and so aerodynamic, because they try and reduce the drag as much as possible so that all the energy is being used in forward momentum. But of course, the nature of many of the cars we drive these days are SUVs, big boxy vehicles, and they are quite blunt. And anything that you're doing on top of that to make that worse, you're actually just ruining your fuel economy. So yes, anything that you're adding to the car, even like if you're towing something or whatever, that's going to add to the drag, and that's going to reduce your fuel economy. So if you don't need to do it, don't do it. If you don't need to have stuff in the car, take it out. If you don't need to have that box on the roof, remove it. So you remember what I said about brakes being very, very important to your car? The thing that's probably even more important to your car are your tires. Always look at your tires. Make sure that they are fit and well, not bruised, not cut or anything like that. Always be careful, right? Preempt any blowout on the motorway by always, every now and then, just doing a visual check of your tires and making sure they're okay. But the other thing to do is to check the tire pressure. And tire pressure is actually quite important to fuel economy, because if the tires aren't inflated properly, they can increase your use of fuel. So for example, underinflated tires can increase rolling resistance. So the resistance between the tire and the surface of the ground has been increased. So if the resistance is increased, then you're using more energy to actually drive the car forward. So poorly inflated tires or tires that are worn unevenly as well can actually cost you hundreds of pounds, in the fuel economy that you're using, but also because you need to replace them. So rather than wait and replace them when they're just literally gone or whatever, or about to blow out, or they're just completely unevenly worn. Do it earlier to get yourself better economy, because it's just the right thing to do. Hope you're enjoying this video. Make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe if you're not already doing so. And support independent automotive journalism channels like mine. You can do that at patreon.com, coffee.com, or taking out a subscription right here on YouTube. Or you know what, better still, you can go and buy my books. I've got 3 books out now. They're all on Amazon. They're all available to buy. More details on this are in the description, but buying any of these books will certainly help. Thanks so much for watching. Put the right fuel in your car. Now, I know a lot of people with fancy cars, sports cars and stuff like that, and they're always like, oh yeah, I always put 98 RON and I only put 98. I always put the good stuff in there. Honestly, and those are generally more expensive, right? And honestly, you're just wasting your money. You don't need to. For most cars, regular unleaded is fine. Most cars are designed to take that petrol. Especially I'm talking all modern cars are designed to take that petrol. So it's not really, you don't have to give it any additional RON than what the manufacturer tells you. You know, unless it's like a high performance car or whatever, most cars won't need that. Even the sportier ones won't need that. And all you're doing is just paying another 10 to 15 pence extra per litre. And if you add that all together, you could be spending 150 to 200 pounds a year by filling up on the expensive stuff when you don't need to. It doesn't magically clean your engine. It doesn't make you go faster. It doesn't do anything like that. So just put the regular stuff in unless the manufacturer tells you, or check the manual, ask your dealer, or look inside the fuel cap or where the fuel cap cover opens, and it will probably say in there what kind of fuel you need. You don't need to put higher octane in there than what it specifies. Plan your route. Think about where you are going. Think about the time that you're going, where you are going, how you're going to get there. Think about all, rather than just jump in your car and set off, think about these things, because by planning ahead, you can save yourself energy, you can save yourself time, and you can save yourself money. So think about where you're going to fuel. Think about where the fuel is more expensive. Fuel on motorways is always more expensive. So the motorway service stations is always more expensive. If I ever have to fuel on a motorway, I'll usually only do a splash and dash. I'll always have enough fuel to try to get to where I need to go. So I'll have fueled up at a local petrol station that I know what the rate is before I set off. And if it's a longer distance, or if I'm coming back, then I'll probably just do a splash and dash, because I don't want to fill it up again, because it's very expensive petrol. So plan ahead. Think about that. Also think about the route. Plan your route. What is the most efficient route? Whether it's a motorway or whether it's a more direct route through A and B roads or whatever. The other thing to do, and I do this a lot now, even when I know where I'm going, even just routes inside town, even places, even like to the shops or to the supermarket or wherever where I know that I'm going, I'll probably still put Waze. I got my phone in the cradle, and I'll probably put Waze, maybe Google Maps if Waze isn't working, but usually Waze. I prefer Waze, but everybody prefers Waze. I meant Waze, but you know, use the app of your choice. I like Waze because also Waze gives you a speed as well, and Waze gives you alerts about any obstructions or anything else that's on the road, or any monitoring and stuff like that. So I find it really helpful. But what it also does, and what Google Maps does, and what most of these apps do, is they also monitor the traffic. So they're also looking ahead. So even if you know that this is not the way, but it's telling me to go this way, trust it. Because I'm not saying it never gets it wrong. It does. I have had that. But 9 times out of 10, it will know something that you don't, and it's telling you that for a reason. So trust it. So go, okay, there's probably traffic, or there's a roadblock, or something has happened. So go this way. It'll save you time. It'll save you fuel. It'll make things easier to get there. Keep in mind that you are burning fuel when you're in traffic. So for every 5 minutes of traffic, you could be burning 100 milliliters of fuel just sitting there doing nothing. And if you multiply that by how much you might be doing that over the course of a year, then that's a lot of fuel that you're burning, not actually going anywhere. Time is money, and fuel costs money. So you know what? Plan ahead, look at where you're going, think about where you're going to go. If you're doing a longer journey, think ahead about where you're going to stop. You know, if you're going to go along the route, say, well, do I need to stop at this service station? Or actually, by that time, I'm going to need fuel. If I go into this village, there's an Asda there or something like that. I can fuel up there, it'll be cheaper. So that's another way to think about how you can save yourself some money. So planning. So there you go. You see, it's not entirely all about how you drive, but it's a combination of how you drive, how you look after your car, how you think about where you're going, when you're going, where you're going, how you're going there. Just little things that you could tweak and look at and think about. And all of these at the end of the year, they will add up, and they could add up to as much as £1,000 that you will have saved over a course of a year's motoring just by being careful and looking after these little things, little nuances, if you like, of driving. So next time you jump into your car, don't just jump in and drive. Think about where you're going, how you're going to get there, how you're going to drive, and hopefully you'll save some money. And if you do save some money, think about supporting me on this channel. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe on your way out. Shout out time, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, if you enjoy my content, why not get involved? Buy me a coffee. You can do that at either of these links. Or if you're watching on YouTube, buy me a thanks or take out a membership. It all helps. It really does.